Hello, once again. This is the Doctor of Digital, the Doctor of Digital podcast. Purpose of the show is to transform your business and life with education and inspiration. I introduce busy business leaders to trends in business, technology, and marketing to highlight people you should know. Can the Olympics truly unite us amidst the global challenges we face today, or is the notion of harmony through sports an idealistic dream? My guest is Marjorie Hope, a renowned figure in the world of diplomacy and a firm believer in the power of respectful dialogue and cooperation. With a wealth of experience engaging with leaders and diplomats from around the globe, including a sheikh in Dubai, a Japanese prime minister, and numerous other encounters, Marjorie has witnessed firsthand the transformative potential of diplomacy in bridging divides and fostering understanding. As the founder and executive director of AmericaConnected, a nonpartisan and nonprofit organization, Marjorie is dedicated to promoting connection and harmony across diverse communities. Her books, CONNECTIPLOMACY and KARI'S Gold, further explore the principles of diplomacy and its ability to inspire others to embrace diversity, navigate complex situations with civility, and work towards a more harmonious world. With a vision that resonates deeply with the spirit of the Olympics and the aspirations of humanity, Marjorie's insights promise to shed light on the role of diplomacy and international sporting events in uniting us amidst global challenges. During this episode, we'll do a deep dive into the changes and hot topics of successful diplomat for dialogue and cooperation. I will leverage the expertise of my guests and how to navigate the unique dynamics of the field. By the end of this episode, you'll be better equipped to know what to do, and I encourage you to contact my guest, Marjorie Hope, founder and executive director, America United. With that, welcome to the program, Marjorie. Great to see you today.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Now this is kind of an unusual field that not many people are aware of. So I'm really curious, can you tell us a little story or perhaps a pivotal moment where you knew this was the field you were interested in?
Well, it's not so much a field as it is a necessary part of our everyday world. I was involved with politics, and I really enjoyed what I was doing until I started noticing a lot of division, a lot of very anger and meanness towards each other. And that is not what we are about as a human being in our world. It's about, look, you don't have to like everyone, okay? But it's about respect. And I think that connecting through that respect, through understanding, you're never going to like everybody, but you have to be nice. And we are all different. Anyways, that got me into what I was doing as far as kind of getting into the more global cultural awareness. Our world is changing so fast, and it's a world that connects to each other. We connect every day through Amazon, through our phones, through our emails, through our, virtual, like this meeting, for example. But everything we do is connecting with each other. And we connect with people all over the world, including the chips on our phone. They're from, all over.
Is that one of the things I'm curious about, the changes that you've seen? And some people would say, okay, the world's in a bad shape today, or is there signs of hope? So how do you see the changes that are taking place so rapidly today?
Well, first of all, change is a good thing. It means progress, and it means moving into a new area of our life and our world that is more connected. Now, what happens is people have a lot of fear when there's change. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And what you have to do is take a step back, take a deep breath, and realize we've always had change. We've had change when we had the horseless carriage to an automobile. People were actually afraid to get into a car, an automobile, as they said, because there was nothing driving it. There was no horse in front of it. So, we've got a world now where we can connect across the world in a different country, and we can be talking to someone from a different country. We can be buying something from another country. That's not a bad thing. You get more with what you have with more people than you would by yourself. So we never want to be an isolationist. We never want to be off to ourselves. And yes, there's an ocean that divides our country, but not really. Physically, yes, but we are so connected, and the importance of it, the vast ideas and knowledge that we get from connecting with each other. And I think that's where a lot of the fear comes from. It's an uncertain area of our world right now, but it's a great, wonderful world full of opportunity.
Good. Speaking of opportunity, I'm curious about topics in the area, like hot topics, like what's going on in the field of sports and diplomacy currently.
Well, in the world right now, we are full of division and challenges,
Right.
like the upcoming Olympics, for example. Now, Olympics is supposed to be a beacon of hope. It's a platform where nations come together in the spirit of unity. And sportsmanship, it means togetherness. It means we join together, and you're supposed to have fun with it and do the best that you can. Somebody is going to win and somebody may not win, but that's okay too. You have to have the respect for each other and the leadership involved with that to say, if it doesn't go my way, that's okay. I'm happy for the other group, and make it fun. And we do have a lot of global challenges, but the Olympics, I believe, will hope, to get us together again and to explore this, amazing world that we're in.
It is interesting. I was not to the Olympics. It was on the off-year Olympics in LA at one time. It was a terrific event. And so I imagine the real Olympics is even better. But I was curious at how you developed some of these ideas and you had a unique approach. And so what sort of ideas do you express? And I mentioned a couple of books too. Maybe there's something in there as well.
Sure. Well, a couple interesting things. I did a lot of traveling, and what I realized I was saying to myself after each country I went to is a saying. And I said, people are people. Because what I found was no matter what language they spoke, or no matter what their ideology or what they believed in, we're all people. We all eat, we all sleep, we all have to go to the bathroom. And I know it sounds funny, but it's true. I was, for example, on a train in Dubai. I had gotten lost, and a young girl came on the train and immediately held the same pole I was holding on to. And she seemed real friendly. She was young, and I asked her questions about her culture, different ideas. And she was real nice, and she answered. And then her stop came, and she got off the train. But I noticed that she kind of looking at me, and I thought, uh-oh, I hope I didn't do anything wrong. So I smiled. And a smile, by the way, is a universal, communicator. And I said, I hope I didn't say anything to offend you, but I wanted to learn about your country. And he laughed, and he said, and I'll never forget this. He said, I just care about making money. I don't care. And I laughed. I thought it was such a great answer. And I said, well, that is funny, but I noticed other people when I was in the town, they didn't seem to kind of like me that much. And he said, well, that's just because they're not as used to the internet and they really aren't used to your culture. But we're all people. He said that. And with that, I said, can I get a picture? And he said, yes. Now, the ultimate happened. In the picture, he gave me a thumbs up, and I never expected that. But again, it just cemented in my mind what I have said all along is that people are people. And he actually recognized the differences. We were as different as night and day, a man, a woman, ideology, religion, and yet we were still people. And I've had pretty much anywhere I've gone, I have found people to be nice, to be accommodable. And if they don't like you right away, find out what you need to do. Example, I was in an Italian restaurant eating pizza, and I needed something, and I asked in English, but they were ignoring me. So I went, I'll ask them in Spanish. Well, for whatever, they liked that for whatever reason, and they immediately answered me and came over. But again, it's that smile, that openness, that when we greet somebody, that cements that relationship, that, hi, I'm a person just like you, and I've met the most amazing people that way. So yeah, that's why I started getting that idea. Oh, and I wrote my book, Connect Diplomacy, and I had friends of friends and people I knew and people I didn't know from over 100 countries. And I had them write in as to why they think we need to connect with each other in the world. And here's the interesting thing.
Sure.
Every single person from different countries wrote in and said, we need to connect with each other to have peace in our world. And they all said the same thing. Interestingly, there was one girl from a country who said if I needed to, I could never write her name, but I had to sign something for her that I would never say her name or she would be killed. And of course, in the book, I put name withheld per request. Again, she said the same thing. We need to be friends. We need to work together. And I thought that was really unique because everyone is from a different country with different ideas, but we all want the same thing.
Sure. I'm curious because the role of technology plays in all this, because there are people who would say technology brings us all together. We certainly are in contact in some way and communicate. So does all this technology help or hinder that person-to-person connection?
Well, I mean, yes, I would say it does connect us more because before we have felt more isolated. But what we have to be careful about is social media. Social media is great in that it connects you with old friends, new friends. It's fun to see pictures and different activities people are doing, but it can also disconnect you. And that is the problem. People join different groups for a sense of belonging. And the quest to fit in, they start to ignore or downplay red flags. Gee, I joined that group. They liked me. I even went to lunch with them. I even met some of them in person. Maybe it's me, not them. I see something I don't like, but it must be me. And there have actually been studies that showed that when people actually joined these groups and saw those red flags, they did not get off because they felt that it can't be right. I joined it. It was a psychological thing. But here's the big thing. Yes, it can be good, but you've got to be, look, you're a smart person, everybody. Get off of it if you see something that's not right. You know what's right and what's wrong. And there's never a reason to be mean to people. So I try to, and I get that sometimes on some of my platforms, and I see that and I go, oops, no way. It's that old saying that your parents taught you, be nice or don't say anything at all.
Right. I'm curious. It sounds like it's a people to people kind of endeavor. And
Right.
curiously, sometimes that's exactly what it takes to break down whatever those barriers are, whether they're technological, cultural, religious, and what have you. Now, if a person is interested in what you would suggest, what kinds of actionable tips would you suggest for a person to be more diplomatic?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a great question. What I would recommend is travel. Go anywhere. And what you'll see is different people with different cultures and different ideas and ways of doing things.
Mhm.
But what you'll find is they are all open to you. And again, it's that smile. It's that way of greeting people, which is that universal communicator, which is so simple, and we all have it. And the smile will open doors. Interesting story. I was in Japan,
Yeah.
and I had toured the government center, and we were trying to find something to eat, and we noticed there was a little place downstairs, but I noticed a group of people in a corner of the room. So I asked the guest, like, he was like a maitre d', can I still go in to eat, or what's going on over there? And he explained that was a group over in the corner was, the prime minister was over there. And I said, well, can I meet him? And he said, well, I can't go over there, but I guess you're welcome to. I went, okay. And I went over, and I didn't think it through, like, oh, maybe he won't like me. Maybe he won't want to talk to me. I didn't even think about it. I just went over. I said, hi, I'm from America, and I'm having such a great time here. He literally smiled at me and said, I'm so happy. And I'll get back to this in a minute. I knew a little bit of Japanese, and I went, konnichiwa, which is hello. And you have to bow your head with your hands. And he greeted me, and he was so happy that I was there in his country having a great time. He was warm, nice, wonderful. And that's my other thing, as I would say to everybody, don't be afraid. People really do want to say hello to you. And also learn a few words, whatever country you go to. I don't mean you have to study a whole new language, but learn how to say hello. Learn how to say thank you. Learn how to say, where's the bathroom? And actually, you'll get along fine.
Are there places that you recommend or have been that you would say this is a place that you really should go based on your travels? It was more interesting or one of the most interesting
Uh,
places to go?
every country I have gone to, people ask me this all the time, is better than the next. They've Every one of them is amazing. Our world is extraordinary, and people need to get out now that it's available to us through ship and train and plane, and go see it. We learn so much about each other, and when you do travel, isn't it? I would not recommend going to five-star hotels or doing a five-star trip. Just go out and walk around, get lost. Oh my goodness. I get lost all the time. I'm the princess of getting lost because I get so into what I'm doing, but I've also had the best experiences by getting lost. I was in Rome. I'm walking down the street. I lost my group. Oh dear. But I knew somehow I would find them. But oh, this woman looks like she's somebody because she's dressed nice, doing all this stuff on her phone. Hi, how are you? I said, I think I'm lost. And she said, well, I'm this Maria, I'm the Secretary of Education. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
So you see what I'm saying? You meet the most extraordinary people in the funniest circumstances, and you always get found. I got lost once in a church I was actually in Israel in a church that only spoke a different language that I didn't speak. But when I got lost, we had a buddy system, and my buddy forgot to tell them I'd gone to the bathroom, and I didn't know what to do. And it was a situation which was a little scary, but I knew Spanish again, that I was able to speak, because they did speak Spanish, to say I'm lost, help. And they actually contacted my group, and they came back to get me. But I would say to someone, don't get afraid. Don't be fearful. You'll be found. You'll find yourself. You'll find a way back. But what you'll also find is the most amazing experiences that they'll become a part of you, and you will remember them for always.
So how many countries have you been? I'm curious then, because you've been traveling.
Yeah, I've been to 12, and I want to go to more, but every single one is extraordinary. And it's the people, because like I said, we're all people. We all come from different cultures, experiences, different ways we believe. And I think that when you get into government situations, they forget that at the end of the day, people are people. And you have to look at, all these different things going on in our world. You got to look at where they came from, what's really going on, what's behind the problems. And diplomacy is so important. And when it fails, it doesn't fail. It doesn't mean that it's not going to work. You have to find another way. And there's always a way.
I'm curious, as we sort of wind things down, you had a couple of books out there and contact. I would like to know, how do people get a hold of your books? How do they get a hold of you? And what do you do? And what can you do for people?
Well, my books are Connect Diplomacy, Connecting Through Our Differences. And my other book is called KARI'S Gold. KARI'S Gold is a children's book, but both books are on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and they both have to do with connecting with each other in our world. And as far as I would love to talk to anybody and everybody, and you can always email me at marjoriehope.com, which is actually my website. And if you want to email me, it's marjoriehope@itsmarjoriehope.com.
Is there something that you offer in terms of connecting, in terms of diplomacy with people? What would
Yeah,
you offer?
what we do is try to teach people how to connect
Okay.
nations and people around the world closer together. And it's a step-by-step process, starting with a smile. And yes, I'd be happy to help anybody and explain the ways they can also go out into the world with a big smile.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking some time out and chatting today. Very interesting. And it makes me hope that there is a better world coming, because each one of us has a positive
There's
contribution.
always hope.
There's always hope. There you go. And it's also your name. So thank you so much. Appreciate your time and all your expertise in helping out today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. So if you like those kind of interviews and you want more information, of course, as I always do, to keep those things coming, make sure you're supporting the sponsors of the Doctor of Digital podcast. That is both On Track, Ian Hunter, and also Burning America. Thanks to publishers for supporting the program. Keep these episodes coming. Make sure that you like, subscribe, positively review, and share everything that you have in the Doctor of Digital podcast. Until the next time, great to see you again. Deus Volt.